One and go.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera and very good morning to everyone who are here with us today. And welcome to the second national workshop on the marine geoscience webinar. So this is a new post-COVID, during the COVID. This is like a online platform. The forum is organized by Marine Geoscience Program, University Malaysia Terengganu, and in collaboration with University Malaya, University Kebangsaan Malaysia, University Malaysia Kelantan, University Teknologi Petronas, Jabatan Mineral and Geoscience Malaysia, and also Geological Society of Malaysia or GSM. Okay, my name is Hafeez. I will be the webinar coordinator for today. And this webinar is divided into 4 sessions. And every session will have three panelists and also one moderator. And the objective of this seminar, we intended to gather researcher, practitioner from various fields of related marine geoscience. And the motivation behind the workshop is to develop a linkage and a platform to share information regarding the latest marine geoscience research and practice. Okay, and we also hope this annual seminar will strengthen the relationship collaborative efforts between universities, government agencies, and also industry players. Okay, before we begin, to ensure the webinar goes without hitch, I would like to recommend everyone to mute their mic and during the discussion. And however, we do encourage our viewers participation in the forum. And should you have any question to any panel, you can inquire in the comment section and our Facebook page, and also to the WebEx online. We'll select and consolidate as many questions as possible, and shall address them during the Q&A session. Okay. Before we move to the opening remarks by Dean of Faculty of Science and Marine Environment, I would like to take the opportunity to thank those who support this program, including Board of Geologists Malaysia, Institute Geology Malaysia, Petronas, Institute Technology Malaysia, INSTEP, UZMA Sdn Bhd, and also Geological Society of Malaysia. Thank you to you all participation in this webinar. I would like to welcome you once again, and without further ado, I would like to invite Associate Professor Dr. Marinah Muhammad Ariffin, the Dean of Faculty of Science and Marine Environment, UMT, to commence the second National Workshop on Marine Geoscience 2020. Please.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Hafeez. Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to everyone, the chairman, ladies and gentlemen out there. So here I am, with much anticipation and very delightful to officiate the second national workshop on marine geoscience. The decision to organize this workshop was made earlier last year during its first workshop in University Malaya. The motivation behind this workshop is to discuss and tackle issues in the specific field via our linkages between universities and industries. We are actually not alone in organizing this workshop. We are still new, and therefore we surely need assistance from our big brothers out there. This workshop is actually co-joined by several parties, including University Malaya, University Malaysia Kelantan, UTP, and Department of Mineral and Geoscience. Unfortunately, due to the unprecedented challenge that we have to endure due to the COVID-19 crisis, we have no choice but to gather all the experts via online platform. Okay, however, I do believe that it won't deter the objectives of the workshop, and it will be a very fruitful effort as more audience may join us virtually. to our young marine geoscientists in UMT especially, as well as from other universities, this is actually an opportunity not to be missed. This is your chance to gain useful information and knowledge about the current trend of research and industries related to marine geosciences, especially in Malaysia. The committee members deserve an applaud as they managed to bring together the respective panelists from several backgrounds related to geoscience, either from industries, academia, and even young minds. So I am very honored to welcome all of our panelists with us today. We have plenty of great lineup, both from academia industries, from directors, CEOs, experts, researchers, and valedictorians. So with us virtually today, we're going to have Datuk Zakaria Muhammad, Executive Chairman of Geomapping Technologies Sdn Berhad, Datuk Kamarul, CEO Uzma Group, Mr. Abdullah Sulaiman, Director of Department of Mineral and Geoscience Malaysia for Kedah, Perlis and Pulau Pinang. And Mr. Abdullah Sulaiman is also our adjunct professor in UMT. Mr. Abdul Rashid, President of Geological Society Malaysia. Mrs. Sanatul Salwa from Petronas. Mrs. Wan Edani from INSTEP. Dr. Jasmi Hafeez from and Dr. Hariri from UKM. And lastly, the youngest of them all, we have Miss Lisa Kamal, now a geologist. She once was hyped in social media for her engaging valedictory speech. A massive thank you once again to all of you for your kind participation in this workshop. The faculty would like to also take this opportunity to promote our newborn program, Bachelor of Science in Marine Geoscience. So our first batch of students was in last September in 2019. And Alhamdulillah, God's willing, we managed to welcome our new batch of students just a week ago during this challenging time. So I would like also to welcome them once again, and may you all be success and take a lot of interest in the topic with which will be discussed later on. So we are so proud to say that this is the first marine geoscience degrees in the country, and then with the help again with our big brothers out there in the geoscience industry and academia, we hope to be able to produce graduates that will strive in the geosciences field. Tak kenal maka tak cinta. Therefore, please don't be shy to ask about this program from our fellow lecturers, especially that we have among the panel Dr. Fadzil Akhir dan Dr. Khaira Ismail. And last but not least, I would like to thank the committee for this workshop for all their hard works and efforts, which have made this second national workshop of marine geosciences possible. It is crucial for us in the universities to continue this kind of academic workshop in the future to encourage and strengthen the interaction between universities, government agencies, societies, and industry players. To the panelists and audiences, I am confident that you will make a crucial contribution to the development of marine geosciences in Malaysia. I wish you all a very successful workshop. With that note, I officially commence the second national workshop on marine geoscience. Thank you very much. Let's rock and roll. Sorry if you missed that pun. I'm a chemist, not a geologist. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Marinah Ariffin, Dean Faculty of Science and Marine Environment, for the inspired speech for this morning. And we'll start our workshop sharply on 9 o'clock. And with this time frame, we'll give the opportunity or chances, space for our technical committee to set up the technical issue. And hope you can stay tuned with our workshop and join us at 9 o'clock in the morning. So, okay, thank you very much. And I hope that I can pass the next session to Dr. Hafeez Jeofry as a moderator for the first session. Thank you very much, all of you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning. Welcome everyone to the second National Workshop on Marine Geoscience 2020 in the new norm. We are delighted to have everyone here to join us on today's interesting webinar. My name is Mohd Hafeez bin Jeofry, and I will be the moderator for the first session of the webinar. It has been an ongoing discussion all over the world that how we are adapting to the new norms in light of the COVID-19 situation, regardless of working, lifestyles, or even traveling for holidays. That is also true for people in the industry because they are one of the main drivers for global economy. Oil and gas industry, geoscience services, mining industry, transportations, and telecommunications line all are heavily affected by this global pandemic in this unprecedented situation. But then how do we proceed from here on, and are we adapting to the situation, or are there new opportunities that are yet to be seen? So for the first session, we'll be discussing on the direction of the marine geoscience industry in Malaysia in light of COVID-19 pandemic. And joining us today, we have here with us three panelists that will discuss and share their views on today's topic, which is the future of marine geoscience in Malaysia. But before we proceed, let me briefly introduce our esteemed speakers for today's programs. So for our first panelist, we have Madam Sanatul Salwa. She is a micropaleontologist and a biostratigrapher and is now attached to Malaysian Petroleum Management as a technical professional. So welcome, Madam Sanatul. We are delighted to have you here, and thank you very much for joining us today. Next, our second panelist is our very own important figure at UMT, Professor Madya Dr. Muhammad Fadzil Muhammad Akhir. He is the director of the Institute of Oceanography and Environment, INOS, and he is an expert in the physical oceanography, where he has been involved with various projects involving geoscience application. So once again, thank you very much, Dr. Fadzil, and we're glad to have you here in the studio with us today. And finally, I think we have to agree because it is so gratifying to have a young bright mind that can join our seminar today. Because the younger generation will shape the future of marine geoscience in Malaysia. We have a very promising young geologist graduate from the University of Wisconsin-Madison, Miss Lisa NurMarini Muhammad Kamal, because she has made a news not too long ago for her enchanting graduation speech at the commencement ceremony. So once again, thank you very much, Lisa, for making a time to join with us today. Thank you very much. So before we proceed, here's a gentle reminder to all the panelists. Each of you will be given a 10-minute slots for each of the questions that will be asked later. To the members of the audience, I would like to ask to request for your kind assistant to please mute your microphone. And if you have any question, you can always write it in the chat box section, which is located on the right hand side of your screen. And without further ado, let's begin with Miss Lisa. So Miss Lisa, we are now entering a very challenging environment with the global pandemic that has altered our system and affecting our global and regional economy. So Ms. Lisa, from your own experience, as a geological background student, what are the important things you focus on to help you outshine your peers to the prospective employers in this challenging and competitive field and age?
Hi, good morning, Hafeez. Assalamualaikum. First of all, thank you for having me in this Marine Geoscience workshop. I'm very honored to be here. To address that question, I've reflected a lot on my experience as an undergraduate, and I think that it's very important to shift your focus from outshining yourself between your peers, but instead to improve yourself. Compare yourself to who you were previously and then improve yourself. But then a practical tip that I was given throughout the years is to realize that connections will create opportunities for you. So that is something that I will, like, aside from doing schoolwork and completing your homework, if everybody does that, your advantage will be in creating connections and then having extra opportunities on hand. So for example, the tip that I was given in my first year, one of the alumni told me, be friends with your faculty. So I took that advice, and what I did was I would talk to them after class, ask questions in class, and get to know my professors, and then my professors in chance got to know me. And then through that friendship and through that professional relationship, they exposed me to so many opportunities that I was not even aware of. For example, my professor just reached out to me, "Hey Lisa, there's this research opportunity for undergraduates, and I thought of you. Would you like to participate?" And then another example was through these forming connections and building relationships. I also got the chance to go to GSA, Geological Society of America conference for 2 years straight, and it was paid for. It was sponsored by student grants, by travel funds. And these are the kind of opportunities that you don't easily get if you search for yourself. And I think that it was very important for me to have these connections with professors, with alumni in the department, for them to help expose me to these opportunities that I did not know existed. So these were the sort of things that helped me in building my experiences and my career profile. But going back to the term that you said, outshining your peers, again, that should not be your goal, in the sense that when you get these opportunities, and then when you experience and benefit from them, you have to share them with your friends. That is the only way that you can truly 100% benefit from these experiences, in the sense that when you get the research opportunity, if there's an empty slot, bring your friends in, as in, like, I know my friend is interested and they also looking for experience in research. Can they also participate? And then if conferences come up again and then there's more options to apply, share the word, spread the word. And that's how, like, as a batch of students and as a generation, then you learn to, improve yourself in ways that are beyond expectations, I would say. Yeah, so I guess that's my answer to your question, Dr. Hafeez.
Okay, thank you very much, Miss Lisa, for your comment. Yes, having a connections locally or internationally is very important, and it's a bonus for many of us around here. So thank you very much, Miss Lisa, for your comment. Now let's move on with the second panelist, which is Madam Sanatul Salwa. So each year, university will produce many fine graduates, and all of them are looking for their dream job. So Madam Salwa, you have been in the industry for quite a significant years. What do you think of the opportunities for graduate nowadays, and how has it evolved from where you were starting out? And as a prospective employers, what do you seek in the future employees?
Okay, thank you, Dr. Hafeez. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Assalamualaikum and good morning, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank UMT as a host for inviting me to this forum or workshop. Okay, the topic is very interesting. I mean, about the future of marine geoscience or marine geoscientist. For me, I started long time ago, actually in 1991. In fact, tomorrow is my 29th anniversary with Petronas. Okay. So during my time, because the question asked about how it evolved. During my time, people are not aware of geology. In fact, myself, as a after finish my pre-university or matriculation, I didn't know what to do. Okay, what subject should I take? But during the orientation week, there's talk by or introduction of the department by the head of department, physics, chemistry, geology, and nuclear science. And the talk by head of geology, department geology during that time is now is a very well-known Professor Dr. Ibrahim Komo. Make me interest to take this course. I mean, because when it says like we have field trip and outdoor activities, and it interests me, so I took geology, and I never regret from. But during that time, we didn't know what is our future, what job should we can get by taking geology course. what we know during that time is just learning. It's purely like gain all the knowledge, and geology is very interesting subject, you know, from starting from first year until final year. All the subjects are very, very interesting. It's all about us. I mean, it really relate to us. It's very close to our heart, to my heart especially. And when of course, like for graduation, we want to search for a job. Actually, things are not very different during that time with current situation. Finding a job is quite difficult. If you know that the oil, especially in oil and gas, the oil price is fluctuate, the up and downs. And during my time, it's actually the what we call a recession. I think for those seniors, you know, during 1988, 89, that's the world economic recession, and it affect the globally and also in Malaysia. So it's very, very difficult to find a job, but luckily I managed to get a position in Petronas. In Petroleum research, I started my career as micropanthologist. Eventually, I'm study microfossils, and starting from that, 1999, we see the ups and downs in the industry, especially in oil and gas. Every 7 or 8 years, we have this the down or the recession, or the oil price is normally relate to the oil price. You can see the fluctuation of oil price sometimes because of the war, global economic causes like previous, and the now is pandemic. In fact, some people said that this is the worst economic recession since World War II. So that means we are having a war with this coronavirus, and it'll affect all of us. So it's not only in oil and gas industry, but most of the economic like in not industries, transportation, so many economic sector affected by this coronavirus. But I can say that later on, maybe I can share with you what for future employees, things we need to change. Okay, but the opportunity is there. Never lose hope. That's what I can say. Never lose hope. The opportunity is there. Sometimes it's a blessing in disguise. Sometimes we say it, because new way of life, new way of thinking, new technology will evolve. So for the young generation, futures, geoscientists, what I can say is not to worry much about it. Okay, things will get better, inshallah. Okay.
Okay, inshallah. Thank you very much, Madam Salwa, for the interesting sharing of experience with us today. Actually, the sharing by Madam Salwa is closely related to our next question. So, Dr. Fadzil, as an academic, we are aware that we have to impart knowledge to undergraduates to prepare them for the working world outside there. But things have changed quite significantly in this new age, even more now post-COVID. So how do you think academics can help to prepare their students to be more adaptive and resilient to meet the characteristics and values needed for the geoscience industry?
Thank you very much, Dr. Hafeez, and to all the, I think, many people involved for organization of this seminar. Of course, before I start, I would like to congratulate most of our first year students who just came registered. I think this is the first time ever in our practice that you come in as a first year students, but you never been into the campus. So all of you are now in your own place at home. Anyway, I would like to congratulate because I should say that this is what I should highlight, especially for UMT, because UMT is a focus university, and when you come into UMT in the field of marine, especially marine geoscience or marine sciences, you are like, if you like football, Hafeez, there's the best team now. Can you name the best football team now? Hafeez maybe like Chelsea, but I will give example like Liverpool. So it's like you become a Liverpool. You get training in a Liverpool place. So Liverpool club. So imagine that you be given an opportunity to be in one of the best facilities that you can get. I think that's what UMT happen to be for lots of subject and topics in marine and especially in geoscience. So in UMT we focus in two aspects. I mean, to prepare a student when before you go out and become a person that can contribute to industry and the field that you studied. We prepare in two elements. The biggest element, of course, the first one is the scientific parts, the academics parts, where I think one of the best thing that you can get in UMT is we are quite well equipped with lots of, one of the top equipments that you can get for undergraduate students. Because I tell you that in some university they have quite interesting equipments, but it only used for research and postgraduate students. But we take it seriously. I think our syllabus was built to give and provide you the best experiential learning and also hands-on practices. So I think that's what you will get. And of course, I should say that COVID-19 is one of the most challenging time, but still we are doing the best that we can, especially the lecturers. We try to provide you the best teaching experience and learning experience through online teaching. So we prepare quite well into that. So I think when you talk about how we provide what types of specific things that we provide to students so they can prepare into the outside world, the first thing, of course, the academics. I think one of the uniqueness of our program is we have this what we call industry in the classroom, where we have people from the industry comes in for about 1 or 2 months and give you lecture into specific topics. I think what students need to do is take this opportunity. I would like to continue what I think Miss Lisa talked just now when she said that involve in your faculty. I think that's the best thing that you can do. The best thing you should do when you in your as a student, because we always want students to get involved with faculty and get lots of information, and we through this connection we could provide you the best opportunities. When I talk about industry in the classroom, Hafeez, we get people from industry. This is where you need to try to get the best possible opportunity to talk to people from the industry, understand what industry needs, and of course this connection and networks that you made with the people from the industry will benefit you not only after you graduated, but sometimes it can be during your studies. Some of the works that we do, the students did with their projects, basically can come from industry contribution as well. I think that's number one. But if you look at one of our concern, other concern other than the academics is to build your generic skills. I think this is where when you talk about employability, people in industry, they always complain. I rarely heard about complaints regarding their skills in terms of the sciences, but most of these comments come from the attitudes. They always say that they hope that this student can be more proactive. They hope that they can have this better communication skills. I think this is the comments that we always get when we talk to industry whenever we have our students going out for their internship. So we try our best to provide you with these types of skills, because every single subject that we offer, there is elements of generic skills, you know, like team, working in a team, time management, professional behavior, you know, all of these are embedded within our syllabus. But you know, of course, student couldn't see it, but it's actually within the syllabus. So what I want to encourage the students is try to understand, you know, when you have a group project, for instance, you know, take it seriously, doing as a groups. You know, it's not like okay, group project, kau buat sikit, ni buat sikit, ni buat sikit, and then we just, you know, get everything's together and then present. It's not like that. It's more we try to train you how you manage a discussion, how you manage a teamwork. So that's what we have within our syllabus. There's lots of elements that we try to train our students. So in the end of the day, our hope is we give the best training for the student in terms of the academics, in terms of the sciences, and providing them with the best generic skills that they can you know, build up on their own throughout the entire learning process that they had during their university years.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Fadzil, for the insightful thoughts. Yes, it is quite a challenging year nowadays to each and every one of us, but as an academics, we are prepared to help our students and also to collaborate with the industry so that we can give exposure to the students about the working life as well as the industry. When they come over here, they can share what are the things that are still lacking in our academics and in our students. So most probably we can help them to address those things that are still lacking inside our class. So now let's get back to Miss Lisa. Okay, Miss Lisa, most of us joining us today, I believe, have at least undergo their secondary education, and we do know that, as has been addressed by Madam Sanatul Salwa just now, that the geological subject is not exposed much during our primary and secondary education. The closest subject, I reckon, would be geography. However, it is not close enough. So what are your thoughts on the exposure of the geosciences field within our education system? We do know that oil and gas is one of the thriving fields in Malaysia. However, we have minimal exposure of the subject in our early education. So, Ms. Lisa, what are your comments on that?
Thank you for your question, Dr. Hafeez. I have to agree that from my personal experience also, I do believe that exposure towards geosciences as a career option, as a degree option, is not widely acknowledged. As students, we were exposed to medic, engineering, accounting, but then there were like specific sciences that are very niche that we didn't know we could major in university. So my thoughts on that are, and I agree with you, geography was probably the closest exposure, but it still is not exactly what geoscience is. And my thoughts on that is, especially now considering the COVID pandemic, it will be very difficult to completely revamp the whole education syllabus for primary and secondary school. But I think as a stepping stone, what we can do is that expose them towards through more engagement activities. For example, like during talks or giving advice, or like having career days, and then, you know, having an example that students can look up to and as a role model, in that sense that, wow, geoscience is so cool. Macam, I didn't even know that this is an option. And it's still my personal experience as well. Like, I didn't even know that I could major in geology until after SPM, which was like, by that time I was like, okay, let's give this a try, and I ended up loving it. So I think I would eventually hope that students are getting more exposure towards earth science. But I think as a stepping stone, especially during this pandemic, it's important enough that we give them exposure in terms of getting graduates, of getting professionals, like exposing students to this career option, this career pathway. Yeah, I think that is my answer to your question. Thank you, Dr. Hafeez.
Thank you very much, Lisa, for your sharing of thoughts. Basically, yeah, this is true. Although that geological subject is not being exposed much to our curriculum, but it is important for each and every one of us, the geological graduates, the professional experts in industries, industrial players. We go to the field. Not only go to the field work and, like, for example, some cave or anything, but we also need to go to the school as well and give exposure to all these students. Okay, so thank you very much, Lisa, for your comments. And now let's get back to Madam Salwa. Madam Salwa, it has been a very challenging year for each and every one of us, and many sectors are heavily affected by the global pandemic that we are facing right now. So, Madam Salwa, as someone who has a lot of experience in oil and gas related industry, how do you see the potential for marine geoscience to grow in the future? How can this sector survive the increasingly challenging economic condition and the current situation that demands the use of cleaner technology and renewable energy? So, Madam Salwa, when you're ready, please.
Sorry, the internet connection is not very good over here, so I can't really listen to your question. Okay, but what I can get from what you have asked about the situation, the very challenging economic situation. One thing, I'm a bit conservative on this. What I can say is, like, from the previous question, is what you should have in person is actually the attitude. Okay, no matter what, as an employer or seniors, that's what even relate to what Professor Dr. Fadzil just shared just now, is what the industry wants is a person with a positive attitude. If you have positive attitude, I mean, wherever you go, whatever the situation is, we can change. We can take it positively. So similar to what we have currently, even as a Petronas, as oil and gas, we also need to change. Early this year, when we have our new president, Tengku Taufik, in his first speech to the staff, he already said about sustainability. Okay, renewable energy, changing. I mean, even we as a very big oil and gas company need to change from major oil and gas to more cleaner energy or to maintain sustainability. So we also need to change the staff, people, researchers, and also for future generation. We need to prepare ourselves to these changes. Otherwise, we have so many examples that people don't want to change. I mean, we already heard about, like, Kodak, what else? Nokia. That's not a very, it's an example that the company don't want to change. So it cannot cope with the technology, so that they no more belong to the industry. Okay, similar to oil and gas, we know that even without the pandemic, without the coronavirus, we also been talking about this sustainability. I mean, long time ago. In fact, I graduated from UKM. We have this institute, Lestari, where the researchers that do the research about environment, development, and how it affect our earth, our environment. So this has been going. In fact, for Petronas as oil and gas company, we also have this agenda previously, but since the pandemic, it's like we speed up the we have this what we call statement of purpose, to be a progressive, sorry, it's a bit long, so I need to be a progressive energy and solution partners, enriching life, for sustainable future. So that's our main motto here, to provide renewable greener energy. So in terms of like a future for the marine geoscience, I think this is a very huge opportunity. In fact, we are more towards usage of gas, because gas is normally cleaner than we using oil. So the demand for gas is still there. In fact, in Malaysia, we have our gas reserve, I can say it's about 40 to 60 years. We have this gas reserve. So what we can do is now how we want to produce or use this gas so that it become cleaner, reduce the release of like CO2, methane, all these GHG or greenhouse gases that can affect our global warming. So the technology is there. In fact, for the geoscientists, the exploration is still going. We have a new discovery of gas field, very huge discovery last year in Sarawak. So this gas will be produced for the next 20 to 25 years. So we have a very long way to go. So I don't think geologists in oil and gas industry will like we still relevant. It's still relevant in the industry. I cannot say much about what you can do is out there. I think Dr. Fadzil has more knowledge in this, because like the environment, we call lestari, in Malay we call kelestarian, how we want to maintain our earth so that we don't pollute, so we can maintain the globe, so the temperature of the earth cannot rise. In fact, as a geologist, last time for those who already learned this about the sea level curve, we have this like the rise and fall of the sea levels. We have like ice age, who watch cartoon Ice Age, because of the cold temperature, so the sea level drop, and we have also the rise. Now, in fact, it's actually towards the reduce of some people. That's last time during my time, they said it's actually okay for the global warming, so that it will balance the ice age. But if it's too rapid, then it's also not very good. We can see that now the rise of the temperature is keep rising, so it will melt the ice, and it's not good for our earth. So for marine geoscience, you will have more opportunity in environment. In fact, in oil and gas, even though I can say it will be reduced, I cannot promise that you can easily get a job in oil and gas industry, but there's so many other sector that need your expertise and your knowledge in helping to sustain the world. Okay, that's it. Dr. Hafeez. Sorry, my internet.
Insightful sharing and discussion as well. Yes, actually, I think Madam Salwa has highlighted a very good point, which is changing. So each and every one of us needs to change. Okay, we are moving from one era to another era. In fact, even during the geological time scale as well, we have a few era as well. So now we also need to change as well. It is very essential for us to highlight on that part. So thank you very much, Madam Salwa, on that comment. So let's get back to Dr. Fadzil. Okay, so Doctor, as has been highlighted by Madam Salwa, the change, the reform that we need to make. So this is related to your next question. So what reform do you think we need to make in our education system, either at the school level or university level, to introduce and encourage our students to take up the field of marine geoscience at the university level? And why should XPM graduate consider this field as their future career?
Okay, thank you very much, Hafeez. First of all, I would like to address one a very the important statistic that we should know. I think for the past few years, it was recorded that the students that get into university and apply for science courses has dropped. I think more than 4 to 5%. It's a huge number. SPM students or STPM students that applied for science courses, it drops 4 to 5%. So it is a very disturbing trends that we are facing now, not only in Malaysia, but actually it happens all over the world. But I should say this, as a scientist, we are a very bad businessman. Because scientists is, you should be, I mean, of course, we as a scientist, we always thought that we should sit in the lab, go collect data and that sort of thing. But time changed. We also need to be a businessman, telling people how important science is. So that's why we have lots of programs now on STEM, science, technology, mathematics, to encourage students to become interested in science more than before, because the needs for science market is much bigger now. But of course, the trend shift. I think when a few years ago we always talk about IR 4.0. Basically COVID-19 is actually speed up the process. So we are actually moving towards that. Technological stuff, and then the way we teaching, the way that encourage people to shift their mindset and looking forwards to what kind of new challenges and how we approach those challenges is changing. The demographic of those things are changing. But COVID-19 somehow speed up the process. If you remember that we never had online meetings before. The technology is there, but nobody wants to do it because people are saying that tak best lah, tak ada feel lah online meeting. But somehow or other, like 5 months ago, everybody goes online. So that's that thing happens. I think science need to do that. Because based from my experience, I was trained as a civil engineer, but later on, when I remember that in final year, I took 2 subjects which somehow changed my mindset. I took coastal processes and coastal engineering, and somehow I figured out that the first few topics when I studied coastal processes, I said that, wow, this is a very interesting topic, because I started to study science of natural processes. What I studied before is just like all these building structures, everything numbers. I couldn't appreciate much when I look at coastal processes in the perspective of science. So I become interested into exploring into science. And end of the day, I find myself stuck in the research vessels. 3 weeks on survey. I think that's the best decision I made in my career. I'm not saying that civil engineering is not good, but there is lots of interesting things that you can tell to people about science, especially geoscience, to be specific, because I think this is the thing missing when we talk about employability as a university. And also, I can say as a mom and dad, or mak bapak ni, so they always think of job opportunities, But when you talk to students, I believe that if you ask, out of 10, 5 or 6 will tell you they will want to do something that they like. It's not about job opportunities. They don't think about that. They just want to do what they like. So it is our responsibility as an academics, as industry players, to encourage students to like science, or to like, engineering or mathematics. I think on the other hand, it is not that we are putting aside arts streams and social sciences, but we need to have those balance. So I think it is our job to encourage students. UMT, in a way, we do that by providing now. I think this is now the second or third batch. We took Assoc system students. So previously it was like 90 students every year. Now we took about 270 students. We go to schools and promote about science. and when UMT is very specific in marine sciences, so we promote more on on marine sciences, environmental, because as a university we do lots of environmental and marine aspect. So I think that's the biggest thing that I think we should change. The way we talk, the way we promote things. We have one of the best marketing tools nowadays available to every one of us. Social media has changed a lot. It gives you opportunity to reach more people, to tell more stories. So that's why now we always wanted to tell science in a much interesting way, not old fashion way that makes people feel boring. So I think that's a huge responsibility that we should take. And I think another point that I wanted to highlight is the process of science that we going through is very much interesting. If you look at UMT, for instance, we are the only university that have our own research vessels. So I always show, whenever I go anywhere with students, with school children, you just show your RV discovery on the videos. They're just like, wow. Even people, students in Terengganu, even though we are orang kata bandar pesisir pantai, but our students' knowledge about ocean is very, very lacking. So we have a tradition being close with the sea, but we know very little about our ocean. So we want to encourage this. We go to schools. It couldn't happen only in university. It must happen with the young generation at schools, school levels. So that's what we should do. I think this is our main responsibility, that we should encourage sciences, and our capability is marine. So that's what we should do in a way to make sure that students can be more encouraged to choose science subject, especially this marine geoscience.
Okay.
In this case.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Fadzil. Yes, I do have to agree on that point. So basically, when I was a young kid, alright, back when I was in my school years, my primary school, we always have this vision about having a flying car, flying building, flying cats or anything, everything about flying and everything. But although that didn't happen in 2020, but actually we have taken technology to another level, to another steps. Okay, so thank you very much, Dr. Fadzil. Before we proceed with the question and answer sessions, one final question to each and every one of our panelists. Could you please share with us on what future improvement do you wish to see in the geosciences field in Malaysia, and what is the way forward to achieve those visions? So I think maybe we can start with Dr. Fadzil first. Could you please share your views on that?
All right. Thank you, Hafeez. Again, I remember that I had one student before. So he's not a brilliant student, I should say. Normal students, average students, but what make him stand out from the others is he know what he wants. I think that's very important. I think he did a diploma in fisheries. When I talked to him, he said that his father liked to go fishing, and then he followed his father quite frequent when he was small, and then it creates interest, and then he explores. Reads, look at documentaries and things like that. He personally said that I'm not really good in mathematics or science. I just an average student, but because of my interest, I explore more, and I know my purpose. I wanted to become to do business in like hatchery for fisheries and things like that. So he can see his future in what he's doing. I think that's what lacking with students nowadays. I understand that now we have our participant is almost 150 now, so most of them are students. I wanted you to understand this. To understand why you're doing this is very important. And I also remember that one thing I think my ustad also said that I think this is changed my perspective altogether, 180 degrees. when you do science, you understand processes, and these processes is made by God, by Allah. Understanding science is actually knowing your God. So what God creates by understanding, you cannot really know your God by not knowing how He creates things. But once you explore the sciences, you understand the fish, you understand the morphology of seabed. You explore sediment cores and understand all these sciences. It is one of the way of knowing God. I think I took one very interesting things that Ibn Sina said in his biography. He said that the reason that I do experiment, I couldn't stop doing experiment because every time I do experiments, I know my God more. So that's why I couldn't stop doing experiments. So I think this is a motivation for all of our students. So understand why you're doing these topics. Have a bigger picture on how you see the future with your current courses that you take. Don't wait till the end of the semester 6 or semester 8 to decide what you want to do. But try to think from the beginning. So that purpose will drive you to do the best thing that you can throughout this university experience.
Thank you very much, Dr. Fadzil. I think I'd like to invite Madam Salwa to share her thoughts on that question. Please, Madam Salwa.
Thank you, Dr. Hafeez. Of course, as a senior in oil and gas industry, I want to say that our future generations love knowledge. It's something that go back to fundamental. During my time, we learned just to gain knowledge, but now when the industry evolve, people are start taking geology because of, sometimes they say because of the salary, higher salary. But I want them to go back to basic. I mean, it's all macam for us Muslim, it's all about niat. Our niat, or what we want to do, is to gain knowledge and to contribute. If we have that in our mind, in our heart, then everything like Allah will ease our journey. So it's and one more thing. This is my wish list. I mean, for because I'm retiring soon. This is very special subject that I need someone to take over, because as a biostratigrapher, we last time we have about around 20 people in the department. Now there's only 2 left in the company as a biostratigrapher. So I want to challenge our younger generation to be a biostratigrapher. Someone to replace us. Okay, someone that really passion in microfossils and also in microscopic studies. So I challenge you, take this challenge. I want to see 1 more or 2 more or 3 more biostragraphers in the industry. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Salwa, for the challenge. I think right now we have around 74 of our marine geoscience students. So please bear that in mind. If you want to become a biostratigrapher, then please, we encourage you to take those challenges. Okay. And now we would like to move on with Miss Lisa Kamal. So Lisa, what is your views about the future improvement you wish for the geological field in Malaysia? So please, Miss Salwa, Miss Lisa, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Dr. Hafeez. This question makes me really excited considering future opportunities and options. But one thing that strikes me the most is probably like we need balance on both sides. We need support from faculty, from university, from government, but then students also need to reach out for the opportunity. So breaking down this understanding, in the sense that from the side of university and government, I am hoping and praying that there is more like financial support given to fund research, so that we are not limited by funding. I believe that that is always the biggest hurdle everywhere in the world, especially like students are always seeking out funding and help financially to go forward with their research. And that in that sense, that if once financial help is given, that continuing research for students, for postgraduates, undergraduates is a more viable option that they can consider as a career option. I think for students, on the other hand, as well, I would really hope for you to consider that. Like there is more to like graduating and then getting a job. Macam like this is a life passion that you do, learning and like knowledge wise. And then is that when there's more collaboration in this sense, I would love for like current geology students to implement the things that they learn and then go beyond careers and to improve their lives and improve the lives around them in that sense. I think that is my answer to your question, Dr. Hafeez. And also, like, thank you to Professor Maria Fadzil and Puan Salwa for your amazing insights. I am taking a lot of notes for myself as well from all the things that you shared today.
Thank you very much, Miss Lisa. I think right now, before we can, basically right now we are approaching towards the end of our first session. But before we ended our session, we do have a question and answer session as well. So now I would like to open the floor for any question that they wanted to ask our panelists. So probably yes, we have our first question right now, which is from Abdul Hanan. I am not sure his question, whether he referred this question to any of the panelists, but I think maybe all the panelists can take part in answering this question. So the question is, what and how to attract the new generation to be a geoscientist? Should we break in bracket and dissect the geoscience subject and shows the opportunity available? So I think maybe we can start with Madam Salwa.
Actually, it's a very good suggestion. In fact, geology is very broad subject. In oil and gas alone, we have separated into like geophysics, geochemistry, we have sedimentology, we have biostratigraphy, and we have like in development we have like reservoir geology. In oil and gas alone, we have like several subjects in geology, and we have more outside. We have engineering geology, we have environmental geology, structural geology. So when we say about geology, that's very broad. So it's good. It's good, like as you suggest, that people understand and so they can focus and what they want to do. In fact, we have like gemology. Gemology is a study of germ, not the germ GRM, it's germ GM. Let's say you want to open a diamond shop. You need to know your germ sapphire. That's also one aspect of geology. So geology is very, very broad. So it's good if we can, I mean, from the start, people know, or the students know what are the potential, what are the segregation of the subject. Okay.
Thank you very much, Madam Salwa. So I think maybe we can, Miss Lisa, do you have any comment on that question?
Thank you, Dr. Hafeez. Thinking on this question on how to attract new generation to consider geosciences, I think it's important for us to firstly like change our mindset of like being like ticking a specific box. Like when I grow up, I'm going to be this, I'm going to do this, macam tu. I think that most people that I've talked to, their path to geoscience is not a straight path. It's like it goes like there's this one opportunity here, and then it made them decide to be a geoscientist, and then they got exposure from a friend, and then they like the class. It's not like a direct this is what I plan to do, this is what I'm going to be in that sense. I think that when talking to students or younger generation, we have to let their imaginations run wild and let them explore all the options. Instead of giving them options for them to choose from, they have to be allowed to explore these things for themselves. And like what Professor Fadzil said, we don't want to restrict this to like just sciences, like arts and social studies as well is especially important. And that's the great thing about diversity in education, in academia, is that you don't have to just do one thing, is that it can be a mixture of all these great amazing fields. So being like addressing how to attract students to be geoscientists is essentially just letting them explore all their options, and our job is to make it known that these options exist, but attraction has to come from their own interests and their own passion. So that's what I think of the question.
Thank you very much, Miss Lisa. Yes, I do agree with Lisa. The first time when I chose this course is because I have a passion in this subject. So I totally agree with Miss Lisa. And I think maybe Dr. Fadzil, you have some comments on this question as well. So please, Dr. Fadzil.
Thank you. I think Miss Salwa mentioned, I think quite a huge field that actually covered under the umbrella of geosciences. But I also want to highlight that we in UMT we are the first one that offering a course in marine geosciences. And when you put in, because geoscience student will have will learn a lot about geology and geosciences, but at the same time the uniqueness that you have is you have the marine capacity where extra things that you might have learn a lot about oceans and the aspect of something different than what people normally do on the geoscience topics alone. So I think that's the extra. But when you I think in the question, when the question asks about should we segregate or and whatnot, I also want to highlight that actually one of the most important thing is once you are a geoscience student, you might have all covered all the important knowledge that you need to be covered within those courses. But the most important thing is nowadays it will be very important if you have an extra skills in conducting certain software, or you have extra trainings in using specific tools, like I don't know, like for instance multi-beam echo sounder, things like that. This extra skills and knowledge that you have will put you, a little bit extra in the sense that will sometimes if you put it in your CV, suddenly people will skim through your CV and then figure, oh, you have skill using this software and this software. I think that extra knowledge that you gain is very much important, because nowadays people always wanted you to have extra skill in data management, software analysis, analytical analysis and things like that. So please bear in mind that not only about the subject that you take, because you have 70 students in your class that take the same subjects, but your extra skills that you gain on your own might have extra benefits for your future.
Thank you very much, Dr. Fadzil. So now moving on to our next questions, and this question is taken from Facebook, and this question is for Miss Lisa. So Miss Lisa, you talk about the connection of building network during the undergraduate studies, and in your opinion, how do you think for the new students to start socialize in bracket as joining the faculty activities in this pandemic situation?
Okay, thank you, Dr. Hafeez, and thank you for the question. Addressing and the application of that tip in this COVID pandemic era, I understand that most classes are conducted online. I think this is my experience from talking to my auntie, who's also a lecturer at a university. As a student, what you can do is to get to know your professor and to engage in lessons. I know it's not always easy to have your camera on during class sessions, but if you can, switch on your camera. You know, there's that, like, it helps that interaction with your professor, that they know they're talking to somebody and not just to an empty screen. Then that's one thing. But I know professors and lecturers are also struggling in the sense that they cannot also see the students, and it helps for them to get to know their students as well. So it's on your part as a student to reach out to your professor, send them an email, say, "Salam, professor. I'm taking your class this semester. I looked through the syllabus and I'm so excited to learn this specific topic. Can you share more? What can I do to prepare ahead?" Sometimes you can go even the extra length as to ask, "Do you have any published papers that you can share that I can read to prepare myself for extra reading?" So use technology to your advantage, email, message, and be active in online participation as well. I know it's not as easy as being in class in person, and the challenges that learning online is very difficult in and of its own. But we have to adapt to these situations and make the best out of it in that sense. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Miss Lisa. Actually, that is quite true because we've just started our semester this week, and I have already had some lectures yesterday. And what I noticed is that some of our students are too shy to turn on their videos. But how are we going to know them if they don't turn on the video, especially for first year students? So please, next time for our lecture, if let's say you have a very good internet connectivity, I'm sure especially in Selangor area or some other big cities, please turn on your video so that we can get to know you. Okay. All right. So now next question is from Kairunisa. Yes, Kairunisa is basically one of our students, the UMT Marine Science graduate, and she's asking this question to Puan Salwa. So Madam Salwa, what is the most challenging experience you have to face throughout your career as a geologist in Petronas? So Madam Salwa.
Okay. Wow. Very tough question. I can say that the most challenging experience that I've gone through, okay, before I go to that, I started as a biostegrapher in the lab in Petronas Research. So I worked there for 25 years. It's my passion. I really love to work with microfossil, microscope. They're my friends, in fact. But things change. I think sometimes about 7 or 8 years ago, the company, our parent company, decide that they don't want to open a lab anymore. They want to close our lab. So that's something that I'm really sad. I'm really demotivated. I'm frustrated, and you can say it's like, I mean, it's been your work for the last 23 years, and suddenly they want to close your lab. So how do you feel? But and I have to do some other things. I have to do subject that I don't really know. It's more on the petroleum engineering, more on the enhanced oil recovery. That's our main focus during that time. So that's one of the reason why they shrink, or they realign so that people are more focused in CO2 management and also enhanced oil recovery. So, but it takes some time to get up. I mean, to take the challenge. I'm really frustrated, but I need to take this challenge. Otherwise, I cannot go anywhere. I cannot get out from the company. I love Petronas so much. Green blood, darah hijau ni sangat-sangat. So macam, of course, there are more opportunities as a biostegrapher in other companies, but I don't want to go out. I really want to contribute to Petronas until my last day. That's my ambition. So I need to change. the company changed, so I need to change. That's what I said when you have a very positive mind. You need to have very positive attitude. So you take the challenge. So I took the challenge. I did a project on something on petroleum engineering, which I've never knew before. So Alhamdulillah, I mean things get better. And after a few years of and I get one project done. It's very successful project, even though I know nothing about it from the first. And after a few years, I was transferred to Malaysia Petroleum Management. We involve more on the governance of our operators. So this is totally a very challenging and a very, I think for me. But one thing I can say, if you are willing to change, and anything will be possible. So keep your attitude right. That's my advice. Okay.
Thank you very much, Salwa, for your advice. So I think we still have more time. So our next question is from Aminah. I'm not sure whether she's a graduate or is currently registered as our student, but she is a marine science student. And this question is to Dr. Fadzil. The question is, how can the academician ensure or improve the student skills if, let's say, for example, the virtual learning processes happen in a longer period due to COVID-19? So Dr. Fadzil, what do you think on that?
If I can rephrase the question, it's not. No, I prefer to answer in a way that not how academician can ensure, but in fact how you can ensure you improve your student skill during these virtual learning processes. But before I go to that, I should say that university has spent a lot to improve our facilities in virtual learnings. We spend a lot to subscribe to lots of I think software like WebEx and things like that. So to make sure that all lecturers has their capacity to conduct teaching and learning smoothly. And of course, I think for instance now we are in we call it Anjung Alumni. Our studio here is Anjung Alumni. I think we set up a studio like similar to TV3 or I don't know, the RTM studios, huge studios. And if you go through I think UMT websites, we have program every day. So for instance, now we have Geoscience seminar. Tomorrow we have professor talks, and then the day after tomorrow, every single day I think we have hundreds of programs throughout the MCO previously. So we provide the best virtual learning experience to our students. But for students, I think I wanted to take the phrase that our prominent professor Syed Nakib Alata said. Many problems that we face now, all because of one thing, the loss of adab. I think adab in this sense is not like jalan depan orang tunduk. I mean it's not that kind of adab. But what he meant was you need to have respect to yourself, because I think students nowadays need to know what they need to fulfill their responsibility going through learning virtual learning process. It doesn't come automatically. So when you move from classroom to a virtual classroom, there are certain things that you need to figure out. What's the difference? What change that I should make to myself so that I can have not only the same experience but maybe a better experience learning. So you need to explore that. I always give whenever I have my class. Yesterday I have my first class for this semester. I give tips on how they can improve themselves during this virtual learning program. So for instance, make one space in your house. You don't need to have one room, but one space that whenever you sit in that space, you know that you are working, or you know that you are learning. That's very important, because moving from one place to the other is like you don't take learning seriously. I think that's very important, and there's huge list of things that you need to do to improve your virtual learning experience. But when I say adab just now, means that always have adab on yourself. Learning new things, respect your lecturer as well on virtually. Sometimes I know that you know, when you are alone, people don't see you. You know, you just listen to your lecturers, and sometimes you just turn on and then go somewhere. No, nobody see you. I mean, I don't bother to ask everybody, are you listening to me or not? But you yourself, I mean, this is the best time actually to actually improve yourself, because nobody sees you, but of course Allah is always see you. You yourself can improve. I mean, this experience. I think there's a lots of things that we need to learn. But the second most important thing is feedbacks. I always encourage students to tell their lecturers what they feel is not right with the virtual learning process. I know that some lecturers, you know, spend 2 hours, you know, teaching online. I mean, for me, I just teach 30 minutes and 40 minutes, because that's the concentration span that you can be in front of the you know, other than, you know, watching Netflix. So learning is not more than 40 minutes. You know, otherwise it doesn't work. But I know that my friend, you know, spend like 2 hours and a half, you know, teaching in front of the computer. You remember, Hafeez, there's somebody said that one professor in I don't know where, so he spent like 2 hours teaching online, but he forgot to turn on the mic, so nobody listened to it for 2 hours. But I mean, my point is, lecturers need feedbacks. They are also working alone in front of computers. They thought that they're doing the right things.
Yeah.
But of course, you give feedbacks, and again, that's why I said adab is important. When you give feedbacks, it's not complaining. It's more like, you know, how can we improve this, doctor? Can we change this a little bit? You know, maybe we can help you out, you know, in certain ways. So feedback is very much important for lecturers nowadays in virtual learning experience. So first is adab. I think the second one is feedbacks to your lecturer is very important. So both of us can improve during this pandemic time.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Fadzil, for the comments. Next question is from Jeofry. He is a 4th year student at the University Malaysia Sabah. His question is to all the panelists, so I think maybe we can start with Dr. Fadzil first. As a young geologist and fresh graduate, what soft skill and basic software that they need to learn as a preparation before attending an interview? So, Dr. Fadzil.
So, Hafeez, I leave the first question to maybe Puan Salwa and Miss Lisa. I'm not the geologist.
Okay.
But I think the soft skill, again, you know, soft skills you need to it is based on experience, and you need to make sure that you gain your soft skill throughout your study, not only during your time in university, but throughout the entire university years. There's no specific place that you can gain these skills, but of course within university activities you can, you know, improve yourself. Not only during your class, not only during your lectures, but of course I always encourage students. I said that you must know that at least each of you must involve with you know, clubs or I don't know, co-curriculum activities. So that is where you will learn a lot in terms of communication. It is not only about communication. When you communicate, when you involve in a group, in a team, you understand how different people think. You know, you understand how to speak with different sets of people with different sets of knowledge and approach. You know, macam-macam perangai lah kan. So you certain people, you know, they are very aggressive, certain are very slow. So I mean, this experience you don't get in your class. Of course, some of your group works you can gain this, but you know, being part of a club, so you have like Geoscience club or, you know, Marine Science club, you know, whatever clubs you want to join. We have, I think, hundreds of clubs in our under HEPA. So I mean, that's very important. So and it doesn't happen you know, overnight. So this experience happens throughout your learning years. So make sure that the best way is go into clubs. I can see some students, Hafeez, like we have Palapes Laut, and Suksis, many co-curriculum activities. Some students, when they go into this kind of programs, so you can see the character change. You know, they become more positive. They become more, you know, commanding in what they are doing. So it takes you know, you cannot change yourself. You don't. I mean, Albert Einstein said it is stupidity when you think that you can change, but you change nothing in what you're doing. So you just doing normal thing, but you expect you can change something. So one big things that you can do is involve with clubs. I know that the first year student you don't come to campus up until maybe next semester, but there is lots of clubs that I know that they are recruiting students. So get involved. There are lots of online activities that you can do. Know more people, and I hope that you can gain your soft skills, improve your soft skills through those experience.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Fadzil. Maybe Madam Salwa, you have a comment on that as well.
As an employer, okay, for a fresh graduate, I mean for bachelor, undergrad, I mean you have no experience, so we cannot compare. When you submit your resume, all we can see is your results and also what are the activities that you have done in your university years. I mean for myself, some people think differently, but for me, first I will of course everybody will the first one that you want to see is the photos. Okay, the photos of you, and secondly your results. But for me, after I go to result, after I read the results, I will go to what are the activities. Sometimes you have like two candidates. That one is probably 3.9, or probably 4 flat, or 3. I mean, very excellent students. But the other one probably just 2.9 or close to 3. But when I see the co-curriculum activities, sometimes I understand why they get that result. Sometimes they be the president of this club, or the organizer of this. I mean, so many. Sometimes it's too many that probably these are the reason why they cannot focus on their studies. That's because when they enter the university, they have this the same they are at par. I mean they are excellent in their SPM. So they are actually the same, but what make them difference in the university is what are the things that you do in the university, not only study. For me, I prefer the one that results about 3 or 2.9 or 3, but have done a lot of things. This guy is versatile. He can whatever projects or whatever tasks is non-related to your work. They can that this person you can rely on, compared to the other one with like almost 4 flat, but with no experience. That's what Professor Fadzil said. Activities in clubs, and not to worry about the skills of the computer skills other than basic. Of course, all this Microsoft, the basics thing. Not to worry about you need to learn Petroleum or GeoX, all this geology software you can learn when you enter the company. I think everybody can learn that. Even myself, as very I'm not very computer literate, also I can learn Petroleum. That's the things that you can learn. But the soft skill, the skill that handle things and how you conduct a project in your university, that's the thing that really helps you in the working environment. Okay.
Thank you very much, Madam Salwa. And I think probably Miss Lisa, she also have some comment on that as well. So please, Miss Lisa.
Thank you, Dr. Hafeez, and Waalaikumsalam, Shafitri. Thank you for your question. Especially as I was not long ago also a fresh graduate, worried about what kind of skills can I offer to my employer, like what sets me apart in that sense. I think my advice to you, since Professor Fadzil and Prof. Salwa already touched on soft skills, but basic software that you can try to be familiar with is actually drawing software. softwares. Surprisingly, I realized that when we were in university, we would draw strat columns by hand. We would draw out, in our interpretations by hand. But then coming into this era where most things are done online, I had a hard time adapting to drawing on my computer. And I didn't know how to use Illustrator, or like I even, so what I had to do was resort to using PowerPoint and drawing on PowerPoint, which is not the most ideal solution to draw. Especially for geologists, we have to, imagine a lot of things spatially. So if you can, even if you want to take the initiative, try familiarize yourself with drawing softwares, because like visualization and drawing is very important to geology. When you are to draw maps, strat columns, or like thin sections even. We used to draw thin sections by hand, but now try and familiarize yourself with, online technology kind of drawing softwares that would maybe set you apart and then give you an advantage in that sense. And a step forward is, I know Puan Salwa said that as you enter the workforce, you will be trained to use all these softwares. So in that sense, you won't have to worry, because every company will differ in what software they use. So they will have to train their employees anyway. But it would be very helpful for you to already have a basic in GIS. I did not take a lot of GIS classes in uni, and that is like probably one of my practical regrets, in the sense that now that I'm starting work, I'm learning GIS softwares from scratch lah. And it would be so much helpful had I had the initiative to learn GIS earlier on. But at the same time, training has been provided, so you will be taken care of by your employer in that sense. That's all my sharing for today. For this question.
Okay. Thank you very much, Miss Lisa, for the sharing. I think we still have a time window for at least one or two questions. So the next question is from Amirul Aiman. Amirul didn't state where he come from. So basically, this question goes to Puan Salwa. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I love this session so much. Thank you very much. What is your opinion on the field of palynology? So for those of you who are not familiar with the palynology, it's actually the study of dust. So what is your opinion on the field of palynology in Malaysia currently? So Madam Salwa.
Thank you, Dr. Hafeez. It's not a study of dust, it's a study of pollen and spores. I know some of you refer it to just like flora and fauna. That's okay. Amirul, you can. I mean, there is still a potential. What I can say, in fact, I can share with you our latest Malaysia chronostratigraphic correlation or chronostratigraphic chart using a lot of palynology. So for those who doesn't know palynology, it's a study of pollen and spores. Pollen is come from flowers, spores from ferns. That's study. It's actually part of microfossil. There are three major things in microfossil for Malaysia. We have foraminifera, which is, I think UMT has now they have the expertise there. Dr. Wan Nozalia, Dr. Fatin, and we have study of nanofossil and also palynology. If you are interested, I was asking that Amirul, you can email me. I mean, we can talk more about this. Yeah. For other people, probably they are not interested, so it will be very boring subject for them.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam Salwa. I think we still have time for one more question, I think. Okay, so this will probably be the last question, and I think I'm going to refer this question to Miss Lisa, I guess, because it's much related to her. So in the next 10 years, what is expected from the younger generation who have just entered this university to strengthen the quality of geologists so that it does not stop there? So maybe this question in terms of skill, asset and knowledge. So Miss Lisa, please.
Hello, thank you, Dr. Hafeez, for the question. Addressing this question is, I mean, nobody can see into the future, but what you can do is just prepare the best you can. And how you can best prepare is to be adaptable to changing situations. And how you can prepare yourself for that is to make sure that you have very diverse experiences. What I mean to say is that if you are a marine geoscience student, you have to be open to explore, just dabble into like different fields in a sense, evaluate how marine geoscience can collaborate with other fields, maybe with chemists specifically, or maybe projects, marine geoscience with early childhood education. In that sense, there are collaborations between fields that can be done, and that will kind of give you a more diverse portfolio when it comes to venturing into the future. In the sense yang macam personally, I really enjoy writing and poetry, and then it's really far from geology, I know, but then that's kind of like the diverse kind of interest that will make your portfolio more wholesome, in the sense that you can have these two interests collaborate with each other. So addressing your question, I really want to encourage more graduates to explore their interests beyond their syllabus, beyond their core subject, and try to see how you can have your interests interact with each other. And that's a very exciting experiment you can go on. So all the best for your future, and hopefully that helps.
Thank you very much, Lisa. So now we have come towards the end of the first session, and thank you very much to all the panelists. It is very interesting to listen to the sharing from a unique combinations from an ex-geological students, industrial personnel, and also from an academic. So I really hope that the members of the audience, you may have learned something from today's sessions, and I apologize if there are any disruptions or intrusion that may have caused inconvenience throughout the session. So please don't leave yet. We still have 3 more webinars with us for today. We still have many more outstanding scholars, experts, industrial figures that we wanted to show you. So stay tuned with us. Thank you very much, and hope to see you soon. Assalamualaikum.
So